Thank you. I'm going to call tonight's meeting to order. All rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And we have roll call.
Councilmember Murray.
Present.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Page.
Present.
Mayor Matsumoto Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Here.
Councilmember Sonmore.
Here.
Councilmember Woodard.
Present.
That concludes roll call.
Thank you very much. So do we have any late changes to the agenda? No late changes. Good. Next is general public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for your public comments tonight?
We have only one in person, and that's Mr. Blake Schmidt. You'll have 5 minutes at the podium.
John Blake Smith, 4905 219th Street Southwest, Mountlake, Terrace. Well, in the city happenings today, there's the thing about rodents. And it says likely they're more likely because of the mild winter. Well, I've been having mild winters at my house for 25 years, and I can't get anything done about it. This isn't a one-year thing at my house, folks. And down below it says feeding birds and squirrels with feeders causes problems. My neighbors have 10 feeders. Maybe you could put a limit on the number of feeders they have. I know even HOAs can do that. And I read in Issaquah, they have an HOA, they'll give them 1 feeder. 10 is BS. And they don't clean up that well off under them a lot. They've got leaves all over hell that let rats lung through. They got bushes. They got stuff growing up over the back of their house, over the front of their house, coming over to my place. I had to buy a new clipper, a 10-footer, to get up and get their stuff that comes to my side. Every month I have to do that, and that's wrong. Okay, so much for that. But after this, it says, leaving food out that could lead to infestation is also against city's code. Does that mean these bird feeders and the other stuff right before that are against city code also? Because that's the way it's written. Maybe you've read that. Something needs to be done. And the girl, she's good help. But I think maybe you took a copy of the stuff I got from the state, right? And that's what she gave some of that information out. But of course it's not for a law. It's for her to use in guidance to teach the people that are screwing up what's going on. Maybe they will straighten up. They got these folks next door to me have the 10 feeders. They have goose poop out there, stuff over the roof, brush all over. They got a water pool for their geese to get in. It's like a little kid's swimming pool. It's green with the water. Mosquitoes fly over to my house, not very often, but that's where they're coming from. I called the county health department when this all started, and they said it was up to the city to take care of the problem. And that's you guys. And like I just told Mayor Pro Tem, I still having a patrol up there. And I read in the police report that they were going to be able to do a little bit more patrolling because things weren't as bad. Maybe after 30 or 32 years, they can come up my street. It's only 2 blocks. They can do that, I'll bet you. And when Virginia was here, I was talking to her and I says, "Oh, Virginia, I'm getting excuses from these people, not solutions." And she looked at me and says, "Johnny, you're absolutely right." And she said something to you guys. I heard her say it. It's been a long time ago. You might not remember, but that's what was going on. And what else? Also, as I told you once, I called animal control about the dogs barking. I don't know if you remember or not. But I've lived there for 30 years, and they've always had 2 dogs, and they've always barked. And she came, and she heard him barking, and she didn't do anything. And I says, are you going to tell him anything? Or she might have talked to him once, but it didn't do any good. And she told me, I said, they've been doing it for 30 years. And if you remember, I said, or she said, that's not so bad. Well, yes, it is bad. And somebody needs to tell her she's got to do her job. My opinion. And it's right. My opinion is. Most of the time, sometimes. Anyway, what else? And also, this is actually the receipt from what I paid to have my house sealed from rats from my neighbors, $1,090. I showed you this once before. I shouldn't have to pay money to keep the neighbors' rats out of my house. And I don't know if I can bend over and pick that up, because I'm old.
We can get it.
I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I talk too much, don't I? But I'm dead serious. All this stuff is a problem, and it's not getting addressed.
It's also just be,
And like, why can't, I shouldn't have to ask to have the cops patrol my street. 3 times I've been broken into. How about you guys? How many times? Any of you? The first time, they never even called me back when I called them, the police. The second time, a guy came up and says, I can't do anything about this. And the third time, the guy messed around for a while and took fingerprints and stuff, but couldn't find anything, any prints, you know. Boy, I sure get excited, don't I? I don't know why either. Anyway, something's got to be done. And also I read in the
your 5 minutes.
Mountlake Terrace News that I told the reporter that the rats were running across the street like a conga line. I didn't say that. I don't know why he put it in there.
Mr.
It's kind of
Blankenship,
weird, I thought.
Mr. Blankenship, your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Maybe something will happen, eh?
No one else has signed up to speak
right.
in person or remotely, and written comments were handed out to council.
All right, thank you. Okay, next is Mayor Pro Tem Wall with the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve the consent agenda items A and B.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
There was a second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next is a proclamation for the National Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. Mayor Pro Tem Wall will read it and present it to, and he took the name, with Kara.
Sorry, yeah, I've got Annabelle Hovig and Anna Alcazar and Kira Anderson. Come on up. All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, so National Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, September 15th through October 15th, 2025. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is a month-long celebration of Hispanic and Latino history and culture. While we celebrate Hispanic and Latino communities beyond this month, from September 15th to October 15th, we give extra recognition to the many contributions made to the history and culture of the United States, including important advocacy work, vibrant art, popular and traditional foods, and much more. Whereas the time frame of this month is significant because many Central and South American countries celebrate their Independence Days within these dates, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Belize, and Chile. By aligning with these Independence dates, Hispanic Heritage Month honors the resilience and determination of the Hispanic community. Whereas the Latino, Did I read that? No. Whereas the Latino presence in America spans centuries, predating Spain's colonization of what is now part of the United States, and they have been an integral part of shaping our nation since the Revolutionary War. When the United States gained territories in the Southwest and Puerto Rico, it incorporated the people of this area into the United States and further expanded the presence of Hispanic Americans. Whereas Latino population in the United States today is over 60 million, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. This makes up 19% of the total population and is the largest racial or ethnic group. Latinos continue to help fuel our economy and enrich our nation as entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, entertainers, scientists, public servants, and much more. Whereas in Mountlake Terrace, more than 17% of our population identify as Hispanic or Latino, and we consider them integral to our community and appreciate their contributions to our community, economy, culture, and creativity. And therefore, Mayor Kyoko Matsumoto Wright, on behalf of the Mountlake Terrace City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as National Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month on this day, September 4th. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate you being here. And you guys want to give these to you, and if you wanted to say a few words, please feel free.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Two. We got another one, right?
All right. Good evening. My name is Kira Anderson. I'm the principal at Mountlake Terrace Elementary, and this is my first year, so we just finished our second day of school, and we got this. And with me is one of our dual language teachers, Maestra Hovig, and also one of our PTA board members, Miss Anna. So we're so glad that they joined us today. And on behalf of Mountlake Terrace Elementary, we are honored to accept the proclamation recognizing Hispanic Heritage Month. Hispanic Heritage Month is a time to celebrate the rich histories, cultures, and contributions of Hispanic and Latino communities. At Mountlake Terrace Elementary, 1/3 of our students identify as Hispanic or Latino. And our English-Spanish dual language program allows students to grow academically and socially in both languages. For our students, this month is a reminder that their identities, voices, and traditions matter. It's an opportunity to see themselves reflected in the fabric of our school community and to learn from one another. By uplifting Hispanic heritage, we affirm our commitment to belonging, equity, and respect for all. Thank you for recognizing this important month and for supporting our efforts to create a school community where every student and family is valued and celebrated. Thank you. And Maestra Hovig is going to give my speech in Spanish.
Hola, me llamo la maestra Hovig y soy una maestra del programa dual en la escuela primaria Mountlake Terrace Elementary. En nuestra escuela primaria Mountlake Terrace nos sentimos honrados de aceptar esta proclamación que reconoce el mes de la herencia hispana. El mes de la herencia hispana es una ocasión para celebrar nuestra rica cultura y contribuciones de las comunidades hispanas y latinas. En nuestra escuela primaria Mountlake Terrace, 1/3 de nuestros estudiantes se identifican como hispanos o latinos y nuestros programas bilingüe inglés-español les permite crecer académicamente y socialmente en ambos idiomas. Para nuestros estudiantes, este mes es un recordatorio de que sus identidades, voces y tradiciones importan. Es una oportunidad para verse reflejados en la esencia de nuestra escuela y aprender unos de otros. Al promover la herencia hispana, reafirmamos nuestro compromiso con la pertenencia, la equidad y el respeto por todos. Gracias, gracias, gracias por reconocer este importante mes y por apoyar nuestros esfuerzos para crear una comunidad escolar donde cada estudiante y familia sea valorado y celebrado. Gracias.
And lastly, in the name of our Hispanic community, I want to thank you. We feel loved, welcome, and included, and I think that's what the community is all about. Thank you so much.
Pictures?
Okay, now we have a second proclamation, and that is for Welcoming Week, and Rick Ryan is going to read it. And Teresa, do you want to come on up?
Good evening. With us this evening to receive this Welcoming Week is Teresa Courtney, who's our vice chair for our DEI commission here in Mountlake Terrace. So glad you're here. City of Mountlake Terrace Proclamation for Welcoming Week, September 12th through the 21st. Whereas the city of Mountlake Terrace is committed to being an active and dynamic city where arts, culture, and diversity thrive, fostering connections among community members who call Mountlake Terrace home. The city also promotes a diverse, equitable, and inclusion culture within the community, striving to eliminate any form of actual or perceived discrimination, and helping community members from all backgrounds to learn, grow, and thrive. Whereas during Welcoming Week, our community will come together to find common ground, seek similarities within our different cultures and perspectives, and deepen our commitments to building a stronger and more resilient community. Whereas during Welcoming Week, I invite all of our community to join this nationwide movement of renewing our commitment to our core American values and by acting in the spirit of welcoming all. Whereas welcoming is a core part of who we are and who we have always been, and Mountlake Terrace will continue to choose connection, courage, and love over division, fear, and hate. Whereas regardless of where we are born or what we look like, we are community, united in our efforts to build a stronger city. By recognizing the contributions that we all make to create a vibrant culture and growing economy, we make our community more prosperous and more inclusive to all who call it home. Whereas the Mountlake Terrace Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, in partnership with Edmonds School District, will host the city's second Welcoming Week event on September 20th to introduce city and regional agency services and programs to our newest community members, share in food and fun activities, and develop new relationships. And now, therefore, the mayor, Kyoko Matsumoto Wright, on behalf of the Mountlake Terrace City Council, do hereby proclaim September 12th through the 21st, 2025 as Welcoming Week. This is proclaimed by the City Council on September 4th, 2025. All right, this is for you. There you go.
She's going to talk. Did you want to say a few words?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Councilmember Ryan. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and all the rest of the council. I'm happy to accept this proclamation on behalf of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission and my other fellow commissioners. We're happy that you guys are supporting us in our celebration that we'll be hosting in conjunction with the Edmonds School District, as we already said. We've engaged 22 organizations to be present at the event, ranging from Resources for Human Services, Immigrant Assistance, City Services, Banking and Elections, Youth and Family Activities. And it's an opportunity to build community, meet with your friends, your neighbors, meet business people, and explore resources. There's going to be food vendors, music, and activities for families. So we're excited to share our Welcoming Week event, which is again Saturday, September 20th, from 11 to 3 out here in the plaza, with opening day of Arts of the Terrace. Their event's going to be from 11 to 5 that same day in the library. So please join us for a day of connection and resources. And again, thanks for supporting all the work we do in the commission. Really appreciate it.
One more. Thank you.
Okay. So next, we have a presentation of the FIFA, is that how it's pronounced? FIFA World Cup 2026 with our Economic Development Manager, Ryan Doss, and his special guest.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. My name is Ryan Doss. I'm the Economic Development Manager for City Mountlake Terrace. And it is my pleasure to introduce Dylan Ordonez with Seattle FWC 26. They are the local organizing committee for Seattle's participation in FIFA World Cup coming next year. So with that, I'll let Dylan take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Ryan. Council, Mayor Pro Tem Dylan Ordonez with Seattle FWC 26. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and present. Let's see, is there a way to have this go? There we go. All right. I will jump in here. We're very excited about World Cup. It's crazy that it's less than a year away. It's been a long time coming. So I'll start off this evening by walking through kind of how we're structured in the different lanes here, and then we'll talk about the tournament itself and kind of how we're building towards next year. So we have a few different organizations on the screen here. You have FIFA, who is in charge of the tournament itself. They're responsible for running the games and the coordination across the continent, everything happening within the secure footprint of the stadiums. We are Seattle FWC 26. We're a nonprofit organization. We are not FIFA. We are the local organizing committee that's been created, as Ryan said, to lead the planning and logistics for all of the non-FIFA stuff, for everything outside of the secure stadium footprint for Seattle's responsibility as being named a host city. So lots of work. We work with our partners in government. We work with our vendors like the stadium and others to make sure that we're doing everything we can to prepare to welcome the world to Washington, I believe about 280 days from now. So our vision is to foster a lasting legacy for our region, guided by the spirit of soccer, innovation, and inclusion. We believe that we want to use this moment of global focus to make lasting progress. If we just host 6 matches and call it a day, we think that we'll have failed. We want to use this to inspire the next generation of soccer players, the next generation of Washingtonians for decades to come. So here's about the tournament itself. We'll run from June 11th to July 19th across 3 nations. This is the polar opposite of Qatar 2022, where the men's tournament happened in a very condensed area. Now it's across an entire continent. We're hosting this jointly with Canada and Mexico, again, 16 host cities. The tournament is expanding from 32 nations to 48, so this will be the largest tournament ever. And we are one of 11 host cities in the United States. You can see the rest up on the screen there. We'll also be celebrating America's 250th birthday on July 4th. So, you know, the World Cup is on its own level. It's huge. It's the largest tournament, largest sporting event. The Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl, I believe, had around 130 plus million global viewers. The least watched World Cup match from 2 teams that will absolutely not make it out of group stage at all has a global viewership of over 200 million. So with Seattle's 6 matches, we're expecting at least 2 billion global viewers to see Seattle, Puget Sound, Washington State next summer. Here's the match schedule. Again, the tournament itself runs from June 11th, kicking off in Mexico City, to July 19th, with the final taking place in New York, New Jersey. Seattle has 6 matches, 4 group stage and 2 knockout rounds. You can see our matches are the kind of blue and green insignia here. So our first match is on June 15th. We are honored to host the United States men's national team on Juneteenth. On June 19th, we will be hosting the United States men's national team. We're one of only 2 host cities guaranteed to host the home team. So we're very excited about that. We have a match on June 24th and June 26th, the 26th being the front end of Pride weekend. And then we have a round of 32 knockout on July 1st and a round of 16 knockout on July 6th. So those are going to be some real powerhouse matches. You could have, I don't know, Argentina, Netherlands, Japan, Germany. It's going to be really, really amazing, those last couple matches. All right, next. Some information about the stadium. All of the stadiums across the tournament are going to be called just the name of their city plus stadium. So it will be Seattle Stadium. Every match is going to be full. We're expecting kickoffs to happen between 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. This is just our assumption. Nothing has been confirmed. We're making that assumption based on the fact that Europe is probably going to want to be able to watch these matches live. Absolutely expecting more dignitaries, especially those last 2 matches, those knockout rounds. We'll have enhanced security protocols. And I don't know if any of you saw Club World Cup this past June. We had the North Lot kind of blocked off for security, and that secure perimeter is going to remain and potentially expand a little bit. So North Lot activity is going to be restricted to ticketed fans only. We're encouraging people to, well, everybody, all of our visitors, to utilize public transportation. At the stadium, there's going to be no public parking in the garage or the north lot, and you can see when the gates open, and we have no dual event days. Every host city is supposed to offer to FIFA for their consideration what's called a venue-specific training site. This is where a team will arrive, match day -2, match day -1, practice, play their match, and then go back to their team base camp. So we have proposed University of Washington and Seattle University as our primary and secondary VSTSs. So this will be where a team, again, practices, plays their match, and then heads back. So we're also supposed to propose what's called a team base camp, and this will be a team's home away from home. They will arrive as early as mid-May, mid to late May, 3 weeks before the tournament even begins, so they can acclimate. And this will be where they live through group stage. And we have proposed the Sounders FC Clubhouse down in Renton for that, world-class facility, it's beautiful, as well as Gonzaga University out in Spokane. Nothing's confirmed. Think of it as they've been approved to be on the menu, and any qualifying nation will then have the opportunity to select their top 3, and will determine, and FIFA will place them where they get placed. But with the fact that, we're not Miami in the summer, and we're going to have some decent moderate temperature up here, combined with the quality of the facilities, we think we have high potential to get some high caliber teams here. Moving on. I have a map here, so you can see where we have the base camps and our VSTSs. We also have on this map what's called fan zones. We have partnered with 9 jurisdictions across the state. We fully believe this is an event of statewide significance. Soccer is a part of our state's history. It's a part of our state's culture. And we wanted to do what we could to make sure that this is not an event that just, folks in Seattle or the Seattle area get to experience. So we've partnered with these areas across the state to host what's called fan zones, for them to put on fan zones. And it's going to be a watch party. We're asking them to be active during the matches that happen in Seattle so we can have that simultaneous statewide viewing experience. But again, we really wanted to do something to make sure there's opportunity for folks to be a part of this historic moment. At Seattle Center, this will be our primary viewing experience, fan experience outside of the stadium. It's our fan celebration, big screens, likely ticketed just to manage crowd, operational for up to 24 days, excluding the coordination with other campus events. This is what you see, in the shot of other big sporting events or big festivals. So we're really excited to provide this opportunity for folks who won't. Not everybody's going to be able to get a ticket, right? There's a finite amount of ticket. There's a finite amount of matches, we're expecting 750,000 people to visit our area over the course of the tournament footprint. And I think over 50% of that is expected to be international. People want to come to a World Cup host city just to be a part of the environment, even if they don't have tickets. They want to be here. They want to feel the excitement. They want to go to activations. They want to go to fan celebration. And the international folks, they want to stay and they want to travel. I think the average stay for an international World Cup traveler is about 7 days, 7 to 9 days. So they're not coming for one match. They're coming to go to a match or not, but be a part of the environment and to travel around and see what our area has to offer. So we're really excited about that opportunity. I mentioned the fan zones, but community watch parties beyond that. Anybody can host a community watch party. You'll need a FIFA broadcast license. The portal for that opens in Q4. But any bar or restaurant that already has Fox or Telemundo, which are the broadcast partners for FIFA, for the World Cup, they can do whatever they want, just operating normal business, right? But if there's any kind of commercial component or admission, then you have to apply for a broadcast license. we have partnered, and I'll get to this later in the presentation, but we're partnered with the Seattle Sports Commission to help us put out information about how to put together their best practices, things to think of regarding putting together a community watch party. We're also working on a community calendar, so we'll have more details to share on that, but we want to make sure that we're doing what we can to capture any activations that are happening related to 2026, related to the World Cup. Our approach to mobility, again, with so many visitors coming and our, living our values of trying to reduce single car usage and encourage transit, we want to ensure a safe and seamless event while maintaining that mobility, right? So we want to utilize existing groups and structures. I was very grateful to ride light rail up here tonight, take a nice little stroll from the station over here to City Hall. We want to make sure that our values and safety protocols are active and that we hit our target of 80% match day by non-private vehicle. And we want to communicate, right, as these plans come together and make sure that folks have the information they need to be able to get around, including the FIFA app, other news and marketing. So we are working on developing those plans for transit, rideshare, bike ped right now. We're going to refine those plans this fall based on community and agency input. And then we're going to finalize those plans by the end of the year. The tournament draw happens on December 5th. I'll come touch on that later. And then next spring, we'll push hard on the Know Before You Go public education campaigns. So we're putting together 3 playbooks, a watch party playbook, as I mentioned before, with the Seattle partnership with the Seattle Sports Commission. We're putting together a community branding playbook with our partners at Visit Seattle. This will provide everybody customizable digital marketing assets, logos, regulations, guidance, et cetera, to promote kind of cohesive, unofficial branding across your city, region, and the state. We're also working with the Seattle Metro Chamber on putting together a small business mega event playbook, and this will be information for small businesses to digest and think through if they want to prepare to take advantage of the opportunity of all of these visitors coming here next year. And you can see the dates for those released on the bottom of the slide. They should all be out by November. This past August 11th, FIFA launched their volunteer program. You may have seen a lot on social media about that. September 10th, next week, is the first day fans can apply for tickets. You may also have seen some coverage of this. Super exciting time. I believe FIFA has, you can sign up now and then go in and register on September 10th. I think it's if you're a Visa card holder. There's some parameters to be able to apply on September 10th. But this is the first of a few waves that FIFA will be issuing around tickets. We don't control tickets. Again, we're the local organizing committee. We're not FIFA. We're here on the ground locally. FIFA's in control of tickets. And then in early December, it is now confirmed December 5th, Friday, December 5th, will be the draw. And this is where we will learn which nations are playing in Seattle. This is where we will learn the schedule of what time these matches are happening. We know the dates, but we don't know the times. So this is the one of the last biggest missing puzzle pieces for operational and organizational, for planning purposes. Because each nation brings different fan bases. Each nation brings all sorts of different things to the table, playing in a host city. And, we'll be excited to see if any of those nations have strong connections with neighborhoods or areas across our state, which would then also, I would imagine, be very excited that their nations are playing here. So the event's going to be in Washington, D.C. It's going to take place at noon Eastern, so 9 a.m. Pacific. It will be broadcast on Fox and Telemundo, so we will all be watching. If you'll be watching, we're all going to find out together. We're not going to get any in advance notice, so we will be ready and eager to watch that program. So that's all that I have right now. This is our host city poster. Every World Cup host city went through a process to find a local artist. We did a poster design competition contest, and this is the design that won. It's by an artist named Shogo Ota, incredibly talented, and we believe it really captures the essence of the Salish Sea, the Northwest, and soccer. We love the whale tail. You're going to be seeing more of it. And as of, I don't know, at least a month or so ago, this was the #1 selling poster on the website by a factor of 2, and was the top, I think, out of 2 or 3 different websites, ranking of all of the other host city posters. So we're very proud of that design. And with that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Did your hand go up first? Mayor Pro Tem Wall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And Dylan, thank you for being here. Just by way of background, I first heard Dylan give this presentation during the PSRC Executive Board meeting about a month ago, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And thought, we need to have him out here because this is huge. I mean, for anybody that's traveled, we all get excited about baseball and football and basketball here, but if anybody that travels internationally, you know how huge soccer, football in the rest of the world is, and what a tremendous opportunity this is for us and our community. And Dylan, I thought, did a great job giving us an overview of not just FIFA and the sport itself, but the huge number of people that are going to be coming to this area and the opportunities that we have to participate and make this real for our residents, our neighbors, and the world coming to this area. I particularly wanted to highlight the watch party, the branding, and the small business opportunities working with our chambers, and want to make sure that you guys are talking to Ryan and our team here in Mountlake Terrace, because we're actively pursuing a lot of these things and looking forward to really making this a big event here in Mountlake Terrace and throughout our region. So look forward to working with you. Thank you for being here. We're really excited to be part of the team making this all happen.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's happy to be here. It is a team sport. I've never worked on anything like this in my career, and everybody's excited and enthusiastic and wants to support, and we want to harness that and make sure that everybody's building to make sure that whatever events they build, large or small, are reflective of their community and, allow people to be a part of it, right? You want to make sure people are a part of it. This is a global sport.
Councilmember Sonmore?
Well, thank you for being here. I'm sure you're extremely busy. My question actually is for Ryan. Ryan, can you give us an update of what things we're looking at in our city during this event?
Yes, of course. No, thank you for asking that, Councilmember. So kind of where we stand now is working with the Chamber of Commerce and collaborating with different ideas of how the city can take advantage of this and support our local businesses to really market themselves, but also get the name of Mountlake Terrace out there during the World Cup. But, we'll definitely, I'm very excited for those playbooks to come out. That will be, as the first day comes out, I'll be diving into those and figuring out how the city can utilize that information, but also disseminate it to our businesses. So we want our residents to be informed of what's going on down in Seattle or up in Everett at the fan zone, but we also want to encourage them to watch the games and the matches at our local restaurants and bars. If they're wanting to host their own parties in their homes, to shop at our grocery stores, get some provisions from Double D Meats and have a cookout and really bring the community together.
Follow up, will we be putting something like in our newsletter of a list of all the, maybe start with all the sanctioned bars that are able to host this and not pay a fee? Is it going to go down to educating our residents not only with traffic and the impacts to traffic and to light rail, but also where they can go into Mountlake Terrace? And have we talked to those ringers for one, or some of our different local businesses?
Yeah, so that's something we're working on, working with the chamber to do. So one of the ideas we're kind of floating around is a watch party network of the different restaurants or bars and kind of helping promote that these establishments are going to be showing the games.
Because one of the questions I keep on getting asked is, what is the city going to do during this time? And I think a lot of people think the city is going to make money off of this, but really we're trying to do it for businesses within. And have we looked to at how people can look at, what am I thinking? What are they calling them now? Like when you rent out a room or you...
Short-term rentals?
Yeah, but there's another term for it. I can't think of it right now, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely part of our information that we're going to want to send out to our residents of if they're interested in renting out their home during that time, that we do have a process for that. And so we'll want to make sure that they vote. Yes. Yeah. But no, to go back to your point with the city newsletter, I think that's definitely a great idea and something we'll talk to our communications manager about.
Okay. Councilmember Murray?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. I'm super excited, so thank you for being here. I've had a chance to sit through a couple of presentations more on the business side typically, so I appreciate kind of the more holistic look at the work that your organization is doing, because I think, to your point, people are super excited. The first time, I saw one of the presentations, I was just like, I was like, what can I do? How can we support our community being involved? And so I just appreciate staff have kind of jumped right in and been, I think, very diligent and on top of that. So thank you for all of that work already. I would be curious if you have any background. So I saw the volunteer opportunity QR code. And I think that, again, as our residents are looking for ways to get involved, and to your point, many won't have tickets. I know that could be such an amazing opportunity. I had the chance to volunteer when the All-Star Game was here in 2001, and it was such a meaningful experience, right? And so do you know what those volunteer opportunities are going to look like for folks?
So the FIFA volunteers, I believe they'll be potentially helping with wayfinding, potentially helping at the airport,
Okay.
maybe at the terminals. It's really going to be, it's really varied.
Okay.
I think that they will probably have some volunteers go inside the stadium as well, but I don't know how they're breaking down the different categories or the numbers of each. So I think that if you just go to that website, you can learn more details there.
Okay.
Because it's their volunteer program. And then if you have anything more, I can leave my email address and I can follow up.
Great, thank you. And you talked about lasting impact, but kind of broadly, could you maybe just speak to that? I think that's one of the things the community is interested in, right? I think there is like the immediate impact of there's going to be lots of people here and there's an opportunity for, community building and fun and, watching these things and, hopefully our businesses being supported locally. But can you talk about some of the long-term impact that you guys are working on in terms of, how this event isn't just, a couple of weeks next year. Really, the goal is there to be long-term takeaways.
Right. So we strongly believe that having the right to play or playing soccer is a right? Like it's a fundamental thing for kids and youth. And so we've partnered with the Ray Foundation, the Sounders charitable arm, to support their 26 by 26 mini pitch initiative to install 26 mini pitches across the state by 2026. Happy to report that we achieved that earlier this year at the beginning of 25, and so doubled that. Now I'm trying to identify 52 total mini pitches that could be maybe not all installed by next year, but confirmed by next year. So again, access to play is incredibly important to us. And so those will be opportunities for youth to play soccer that might not currently have that opportunity. We're working on some things within the city of Seattle to help encourage getting out and getting around. the town, around the city, based on arts and culture, and we'll have more to share on that later. And we're also working with BEST and with the port and with other organizations on our human rights work and training businesses and others, frontline employees, to recognize signs of human trafficking and best practices to report that. So we're working on building systems that we are hoping will be carried on with future events as well, in addition to access to play and other areas. We have a chief legacy officer. His name is Leo Flor. I don't know if any of you know him, formerly at King County, but he's great, and he's leading all of our legacy work, and there's a lot more than the examples that I just said. But he and his team are doing some really great stuff.
No, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing some of the things you all are working on. I would just make a plug. I think a couple of things we've talked about here previously, but one, if we haven't shared, we celebrate the 3rd of July for Independence Day in Mountlake Terrace, and so we have a lovely 3rd of July celebration with fireworks down at Lake Ballinger, which is walking distance from our light rail station. So I think the timing on that is lovely, and would love to ensure that folks who are visiting and excited to share, the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, have the opportunity to come to Mountlake Terrace and do that. And I would just say the other thing I think that for me is important to just reinforce with you, since you are here, and hopefully you can take that back. I know sometimes there's conversations, around the light rail specifically, and because the rest of the light rail besides our station in Linwood are in King County, I think sometimes those takes place in King County kind of centric spaces, and so just don't forget us. We're really excited to be part of, I think, the ease that folks are going to be able to navigate the region on the light rail, and so I think, the more that especially Linwood and our community can plug into any conversations that kind of are connected to the way that people are going to, utilize light rail to get around our region during that period of time, I'm sure we would love to be a part of those conversations. And then for Ryan, I appreciated Councilmember Sonmore bringing up short-term rentals. We've talked a little bit about that in the past and don't currently have code that is super specific for short-term rentals, so that's probably something we want to talk about before next year. And then I will just make another plug. One of the things I brought up before is the idea of exploring a bike share. And I think particularly, again, as we look at how people get around during that period of time, our neighbors to the south have bike share programs, public bike share programs, and I would love for us to again, help people to get from the light rail station up to the town center, up to Melody Hill, or down to Lake Ballinger, to check out the interurban trail, et cetera. So anyway, I would love to see us bring that conversation back as well. I think that's it. Thank you so much. I'm super excited, so appreciate all of the work, and we are here cheering you on for sure. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're next.
Thank you.
Councilmember Page.
Dylan, thanks for being here. I think that your presence here makes it real for us that this is really happening, and it's going to be here in our city, and we need to jump on board, and I think everybody's ready to do that, and bringing some information for us, I think really, opens our minds up to the possibilities, just to some of the things that you've already heard. Not being familiar with the draw, I'm going to guess that it's probably similar in excitement as like the NBA draft or the NFL draft, where people have these big parties while they're watching, who gets drafted or whatever. And if so, just how long does the draw actually take place?
So my understanding is that the draw in previous years has been about an hour to an hour and a half,
Okay.
but also the tournament has expanded from 32 teams to 48 teams.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it will probably be at least 2 hours.
Okay.
I can't say for certain, but and I also don't know if they will actually have one of these rolling ball things like in the graphic here, but it's going to take place at the Kennedy Center in DC. And so that's where it's going to be happening. There's a finite capacity there, so it's not like at a stadium or anything like that. And I don't know how the program's going to be broken up, if they're going to have like 40 minutes of intro and then do like half the teams and then more programming and then do the rest, or if it's going to be kind of peppered throughout, unsure. But I would count on a very like FIFA-centric program, touting soccer and the tournament with the draw elements actually kind of spread out throughout the 2-hour program.
Thank you. And the reason why I asked that question, and I guess now I can, direct it at you, Ryan, is because I think that with it happening in December, that's like the first opportunity local businesses can get ready for the party. If they get a good idea of what the draw going to look like, what it feels like, because again, here in the United States, for the draft, whether it's the NBA or the NFL, it's a big deal in a lot of cities because they know every city that has a team know they're getting somebody, and somewhere there's a party, where everyone's crowded around having a good time and hoping that they get their person. So, that would be like a wonderful opportunity in December if we have local businesses doing what they do, at a heightened level, just to get everyone excited about the draw so that they know that this is where it's happening and this is who's coming, and now we're ready for that, and everybody's got that exuberance. The other question I have, Ryan, is MLT planning on a brand to market to get folks to come up to MLT? Come up to MLT because everyone's going to be competing for the number of millions of people that are going to be, in the state. Do we have a plan to one singular thing that's going to, prior to all of this happening, and when they get there at the airports or whatever, to give people a reason to want to think about or consider coming to Mountlake Terrace for all the various things that we're going to have available to offer them?
No, I appreciate the question, Councilmember. That is something we will explore once that community branding playbook comes out. But I would welcome any ideas of kind of how to conduct that outreach of getting people to visit. We'll have a good number of visitors just happening through with the light rail station. But to your point, it's really a goal of ours to, make sure people leave the light rail station and come in and enjoy Mountlake Terrace and visit our businesses and enjoy the amenities that we have here. So definitely going to be playing a role in marketing Mountlake Terrace as a destination for people to come and check out. But we're still exploring kind of specific avenues for that.
And hopefully we'll get a lot of ideas. I know coming from New Hampshire, beautiful New Hampshire, especially in the fall, this time of the year, when people fly into Boston, they come off the planes of all the different airlines, and what they see are reasons to go to New Hampshire. Even though they're all the way over in Boston and everything they got to get through because of the marketing that, all these little towns, and I don't even mean like the big cities, the little towns that, you get off the airport, you get off the plane, and as you're walking through the terminals, sometimes, you'll go down the whole hallway and you see, New Hampshire, bang, 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 or Maine, bang, 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 bang. And these are people coming to visit Boston, or the East Coast, and then they realize, well, we got something else here. Hopefully, the businesses and the community will put together ideas, for you to be able to figure out ways, to tag people in different locations, and maybe we could even work with some of the adjoining cities to encourage folks to visit. While you was talking about transportation, I was thinking about when the light rail came last August, a year ago, and how they incentivized people stopping at each station, with a book that they got tagged if they went to different events, like July 3rd or something like that, if they used the rail. So, those are just things that, hopefully that we'll consider all of those possibilities and think outside the box, to make people maybe want to come back and stay, right?
Exactly. And I'll just add that, a lot of those different things that you mentioned, we are considering them, and I've been in talks with our neighboring cities of kind of figuring out what everyone's thinking about, what they're planning to do, but how we can collaborate on just bringing people up to this, northern King County, south Snohomish County. But for Snohomish County, I know the county has gone through rebranding for their tourism efforts, and so we'll definitely want to take advantage of that. We also have a city branding project coming down the pipeline very soon. And so hopefully we can at least have some ideas to pull out of that on how to best market our city. But no, you brought up some great points, Councilmember.
Anyone else? Councilmember Woodard?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep mine quick. Back on slide 9, where you're talking about the Seattle fan celebration at the Seattle Center. I like that at the bottom there you mentioned coordination, and I trust that's not an extensive or exhaustive list, which is a long way around the horn to say, what's the coordination with your next door neighbor, Climate Pledge Arena? I happen to know our 4-time world champion Seattle Storm should be playing. I don't know if they'll be in town during that window, but I suspect they will. And I will just say, what was it? Labor Day weekend, we have Bumper Shoot. You couldn't have created, not you personally, there could have been a path through Bumper Shoot. They made fairly elderly people walk completely around the campus to get to the arena for those of us who use monorail. So I'm not sure what you're planning, but just things like that, where I'm like, there could have been some conversations that could have taken place. And just trusting that that's something you all are doing, even though they're not necessarily listed here.
I am not part of the operations team building our fan celebration, but I can check back and get back to you. But I think that my understanding is that right now this would be kind of in that center bowl area and not and CPA is outside of that perimeter. So I don't think that there would be any overlapping events or utilization of that space at present.
Perfect. So unlike Bumper Shoot, you don't take over the entire footprint, basically.
Of the center?
Yeah. Okay.
No, this would not be taking over all of Seattle Center.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I know that we're excited, and I have lots of ideas too, Councilmember Page. Yeah, we're going to try to get people into Mountlake Terrace somehow. We'll work with Ryan on that. Well, if there are no other questions, do you have any more? Well, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we need to really, keep getting informed before next year. All right, thank you very much. Okay, next on our agenda is the review of the public hearing and vote on property annexation petition for 24229 48th Avenue West with Christy Osborne. Yes.
All right, I am pinch hitting for senior planner Sarah Pizzo, and she has a beautiful multi-page presentation for you. But since you folks have seen this numerous times, unless somebody requests we go through that one more time, when you're going to see this again, we'll just keep it straight to the point. Really, the purpose of our hearing tonight is just to continue our procedural process that we go through for property annexation. And just to refresh everybody's memory, we have property that's filed a petition with the city for 24229 48th Avenue. You folks have had a work session on this on June 12th, and you've had 3 subsequent meetings so far regarding this proposal. You continued the hearing till tonight. From August 21st, we had an error in the address for the property, so we've corrected that to make sure notification requirements were sufficient. So where we're at, we're required to hold a public hearing at this juncture to hear public testimony for anybody that is for or against the proposal moving forward. As far as I know, we have received no public comment on this throughout the process to date, written or otherwise. And we're really here to have you folks direct staff to file a notice with the Boundary Review Board to review the notice of intent for this proposal is essentially what this is all about. So I would like to just cut straight to the chase and let you folks know that you will be seeing this again. We're just moving it along to the Boundary Review Board for them to review it, which is the process. And we're asking for you to direct us to file that notice of intent regarding this annexation at this point. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right. I don't see any except for Councilmember Wall. Is that a hand going up or a
Ready to open a public hearing.
All right, let's open the public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Christy. I move to open the public hearing.
It's been moved and seconded to open this public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone signed up?
There is no public testimony on this item.
And no one signed up in person?
No one signed up in
That was the
person
in-person one.
or online.
Okay. All right. So now we can close it. Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to close the public hearing.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is now closed. And Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to, unless there's any further discussion, I guess I'll put the motion on the table if there is any.
Are there any discussions? We've seen this many times.
Yeah. I'll move to adopt the resolution to accept the petition and direct staff to file a notice of intent to annex, move back up here for the property, annexation petition for 4229 48th Avenue West with the Boundary Review Board.
Second.
Just to clarify, that's the Snohomish County.
Snohomish, yeah, Snohomish
Boundary
County Boundary Review
Not
Board,
our
sorry.
local one.
Yep.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Is there another one right
No, I think we're done with that.
there? Okay. Anything more?
No.
All right.
I'm just
We're
up
done.
next, so.
You're up next.
Yeah, we're
Which is
ready
also-
for the next one.
Also,
Yeah.
the review and vote on the business license requirement. Again with Christy Osborne.
Yeah, thank you. So Washington State recently revised the portion of the revised Code of Washington 35.90, which requires all cities and towns that require business licenses in the state to follow provisions in the model ordinance. And last year in 2024, working group recommended final changes to this model ordinance, and what it affects as far as our code, our municipal code, is there is a threshold exemption in our code currently for where we have a fee-free license, business license process for folks that don't have a business in town but come to do work here that make $12,000 or less a year is what our code currently says. And so state law was changed. It was a $2,000 exemption, and it's been raised to $4,000. So we meet that exemption threefold, so that's not a problem. But what we need to include in our code is a provision which requires that every 4 years we're going to adjust that number, that $12,000 number, based on CPI for inflation. So these provisions would kick in on January 1st of 2026. And then every 4 years, there would be an automatic adjustment of that fee that you've previously determined that's in our code right now would be adjusted accordingly per the new state requirements. So we're asking that you adopt this ordinance to amend our code language in the municipal code to comply with state law. So it's really that simple. It's very basic. We just need to include that inflationary provision in the code, in our municipal code.
Councilmember Page?
Thank you. Hi, Chrissy.
Hey.
I just need some understanding about what this is. You know, I've been looking at it and looking at it and looking at it.
Sure.
And, you know, the threshold now is 4,000. Ours is 12,000. There's a huge disparity in what we do versus what the state says you have to do. How does this benefit the business who isn't living, the business owner, I guess, who isn't living in MLT? How does it benefit us or vice versa? I mean, if I can just get some understanding about what this is.
Absolutely. So my department just took over business licenses more recently, last year, I believe. Don't quote me on that because, you know, everything's 1 to 5 years in my mind, and I'm not sure, but I believe it was last year when we took them over. But at some point, council said, you know what, for people that are coming in, I'm a plumber, and I come in and I do a small job in Mountlake Terrace, and I don't own a business here, and I'm doing a little bit of work, and what I'm going to generate income-wise is going to be less than $12,000. So the city said, you know what, great, we're not going to charge you for a business license in the city. $12,000 seems like a reasonable amount of money that we're not going to make you pay to earn a small amount. The state sets a minimum. The $4,000 now would be a minimum, but that doesn't preclude you folks from saying, you know what, $4,000 seems a little low. Why don't we say $12,000 a year? And that allows a little bit more wiggle room for somebody to come in and do a small job in town. So a plumber, a lot of times an electrician comes in and does a small job, and we're not going to charge them additional fees. We're going to get a fee for the permit. And as long as you're not doing a whole bunch of business that exceeds $12,000, we're good.
And is that pretty much in line with what our neighboring cities do?
You know, I'm not sure what our neighboring cities do. I mean, we could find out, but I think it's kind of probably all over the board. And I think what we would earn, and I mean, that's for council to decide, but the nominal amount, and what we would receive in a business license fee.
So do you think that these small business owners that are in their own little circle, are they aware of, you know, how much of a, you know, minimum that we set that would maybe encourage them to come do work here versus someplace else because, you know, they've got that boundary?
I don't know the first time, but I think after they've done a job here, it's, you know, I think people are inclined, if they have a hard time getting through permitting, they'll say, I'll never work at that blankety-blank city of Mountlake Terrace again. But if we were trying to do things that say, hey, we're trying to be reasonable with things, and hey, I can come do a small job, then that's pretty cool. If somebody else calls me, I'll easily take another job in the city of Mountlake Terrace.
Thank you. And I really appreciate, you know, how you break things down. I'm learning this stuff, and you made it really simple. I've been looking at this, I don't know how many days, and just wasn't getting it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet.
Councilmember Murray?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Christy. Hopefully a quick question. Sure. I think to your point, I think it makes sense to have it tied to CPI and to continue to increase the bottom threshold. I guess I'm just curious how long 12,000 has been the bottom threshold, given we don't currently have that adjustment. Do you know?
I believe that, I believe the city, I tried to find that out. I believe it's been since at least the last couple of years. A city manager came before you, and there probably was a discussion on this more recently where council decided that that would be $12,000, but I don't know specifically.
That's fair. That's what I thought as well. I thought it was a fairly recent discussion to where I didn't feel like we needed to revisit right at this moment. But I would, I mean, if I think to your point, I think ideally what we don't want to do, especially as costs go up, and I think particularly in construction, which is where you've had a couple of examples, like we've seen costs increase significantly on our side, and I'd imagine that is true for, you know, folks that do small projects as well. Yeah, what I think we wouldn't want to do is create a situation where people who live here can't get bids from contractors who aren't going to do a ton of work here, because ultimately the pain of having to get a business license to bid on one job, like ultimately makes it not worthwhile. And so then they don't have the, you know, opportunity to get a bid that might be the best bid for them and the best quality of work. So I guess I would just welcome if we start hearing feedback from folks that they are not able to get people to bid on work or to do work within Mountlake Terrace because they don't want to go through that process. Particularly for just kind of an individual job, I would love to make sure that we take a look at that and not just rely on the CPI to keep us at a place that is reasonable and kind of prevents the issues that you brought forward.
Yeah, I haven't heard that comment so far.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Christy.
Anyone else? Okay. Excuse me. So we need to vote on this. So Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to adopt the ordinance amending the Mountlake Terrace Municipal Code 5.05.027 related to business license thresholds for inclusion of gross income thresholds for fee-free license registration only to be adjusted for inflation per the proposed ordinance in compliance with state law.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, so next is the review and vote on the resolution accepting Washington State Department of Transportation funds with our Recreation and Parks Director, Jeff Betts.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Council, Jeff Betts, Recreation and Parks Director for the city. And this item may look familiar, maybe not. We did take a look at one similar to this resolution a little over a year ago. So go back to the beginning shortly. In 2021, the city did submit an application for the 2022 Community Project Fund, which is otherwise known as federal earmarks. We were awarded $2 million, thanks to Representative Rick Larson, to support construction of a pedestrian plaza and accessible lighted pathways through Veterans Memorial Park. So those federal funds require a 13.5% local match, which is about $270,000. And that local match is being provided by Sound Transit grants. We did bring this resolution to council in May, but we only identified Veterans Memorial Park in the resolution. The grant does allow for expenditures to the entire project, and that includes the plaza and Veterans Park Trail. So now we're coming back just to clarify that we'd like to utilize the funding for both portions of the project or the entire transit connection corridor project. So if council approves that resolution tonight, then the project would enter a new phase called obligation. So after this approval, the state would review the submittals by the city and release the project back to the city to gather bids. So the city would then be able to go to bid, and we have about 45 days to achieve that. And then we would expect approvals of the bids by the end of the year to come back to council. And construction would follow for the plaza in 2026. So Veterans, as you know, Veterans Memorial Park Trails is underway and almost completed. We're just waiting on a few more elements that are a little bit behind on handrails and some plantings that are going to happen in the fall, and then that portion will be completed. So this is really just city's mechanism for the grant itself is the resolution to make sure that council's aware that we're going to utilize it. We intend to utilize the funding for both pieces of the project. And then we can continue forward and get the project out to bid. So the staff recommendation for tonight is at tonight's meeting for the council to review, vote, and approve the amended resolution authorizing that $2 million grant to be utilized for the entire Transit Connection Corridor project, including park improvements at both Veterans Memorial Park and the pedestrian plaza. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Okay, yeah. Anytime we can get money, right? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve the amended resolution authorizing the use of the $2 million grant for the entire Transit Connection Corridor project, including park improvements at Veterans Memorial Park and Pedestrian Plaza.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next is our city manager's report with our deputy city manager, Carolyn Hope.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. Just a few updates tonight. A reminder that this Saturday, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting WAGFest at Evergreen Playfield Track between 11 and 5. The city will have a booth there to help promote communicating with the city and upcoming events. Also next Wednesday at 6 o'clock here in City Hall, the city manager will host Terrace Talk, and he'll be bringing members of the police department to talk about the Scout program, domestic violence services, the Blue Bridge program, and other community outreach efforts. Speaking of the police, Commander King has been working with South County Fire on a CERT program, and they're advertising for that class now on the South County Fire website. It will be between October 10th and 12th at the Mountlake Terrace Police Department. Also this week, we started recruitment for the Community Ambassador Program, which you approved last month. So we're excited that the application period is open until October 3rd. Again, this is a volunteer program to engage with more community members interested in serving with the city's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission and many staff on various projects concerning community outreach and engagement and supporting events, cultural events, and otherwise. So it's a great way to get to know more people in the city. We're encouraging folks who live, work, go to school, worship, or otherwise have a very vested interest in the city to apply. And folks 16 years old or older are welcome to apply as well. Just also a note, this week our swim teams are back at the pool, so there's a new schedule on the website. And the police department had our contractors carrier back out there this week. They've got a temporary patch for the software so the temperatures are regulated, and we're working on getting a new software product in for the permanent solution. But right now people are not wearing sweaters anymore, so that's good. And then lastly, I wanted to give a shout out to our Public Works Water Department folks. We received a letter this week from the Washington State Department of Health. They were responding to their routine survey that they did of our system in June with a very positive letter. They highlighted that we have a robust operation and maintenance program. We have great plans with future upgrades. We had good physical and tech security in place, and that all facilities were in great working condition. So I just want to give kudos to the team, both in Public Works and IT, who support all of that work. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, next is council liaison reports. And see, which way did we start last time? Let's go with Councilmember Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. On August 26th, we had our monthly Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission meeting. It was a little bit later in the month than it normally is. We have talked about all of the good stuff that I was going to report on from that meeting. So we had our proclamations, which they reviewed. We talked about Welcoming Week, which I would encourage folks to put on their calendar and come out for. I think we are still looking for volunteers before and after, if anybody wants to come and help set up or take down. And then the Community Ambassador Program, I'm so excited about that. I appreciate our Deputy City Manager highlighting that. I know we've put out a press release and information, and so I think if folks have more questions, we would welcome you reaching out, but excited. We've been talking for a long time about how we give people an opportunity to get engaged if they are not on one of our boards or commissions, and really excited that we now have an opportunity to do so. So that's super exciting. On the 28th, we had our work session. On the 30th, it was the 1-year anniversary of our light rail opening, which is very exciting. And I know we've talked about it in different reports over the last year. I will just say I took the opportunity, my kids and I took the light rail down. It was a Saturday, which worked out really well. And so we took the light rail downtown and got off at the what's now called the Symphony Station, which used to be the University Street Station for those who maybe had ridden in the past, and walked down to the aquarium. And we hadn't been since the aquarium had been remodeled, but I think for me it was just a wonderful way to celebrate how much of our region having that resource here in our community opens up. We met some friends who had come up on the light rail with their 3 kids, who they've got 2 5-year-old twins and an 11-year-old who's friends with my son. And we all went to they came on the light rail coming north, and we met up, and it was just a lovely way to spend the day. I know we've had different, folks who haven't used it, I think, that have shared concerns. I will say, every time we've ridden the light rail, it's been a positive experience. My daughter's talking about, she's 14, talking about, planning outings to go to the university district with her friends, because there's all sorts of fun places to have lunch. And so I would just encourage people, if you haven't taken it, to try there. Ever since our station has opened, I have not ridden the light rail and not seen a security guard at every single station. It was great on the way down. One of the cool new things about light rail that they just changed, I was talking to a family on the way down who was there with their 5-year-old and their dog, and they recently approved dogs riding the light rail. So if you were going someplace with your dog, maybe to Wegfest on Saturday, if you want to come up to Mountlake Terrace and celebrate your pup, you can take the light rail to get there. So anyway, it was lovely. There was a young man who was with his grandmother, who obviously he was very familiar with the light rail, and she hadn't taken the light rail before. And so he was he was kind of walking her through how to do it. And it is a wonderful opportunity to be in community, but also to go to all sorts of amazing places across our region. And that's just going to continue to grow as we look forward to future stations opening here in the next year. So anyway, that's my plug. It's been there a year. If you haven't gotten on it yet, I'd encourage you to go do so. On the 3rd of this month, PSRC from Snohomish County Cities and Towns, I have the opportunity to be our alternate to the PSRC Economic Development District Board. We had our quarterly meeting here on the 3rd, talking mostly about the regional economic strategy. So I think I've mentioned that in this space, but essentially that's a 5-year plan where, we plan for the region. So King County, Snohomish County, Pierce County, Kitsap County come together and put together a plan around our economic strategy. I guess my big takeaway on that I would love to make sure that we're engaging in as a city is there's an online engagement hub right now that has the opportunity to provide feedback. So the areas of the focus for the strategy are expanding economic opportunity, business climate, global competition, and quality of life. So opportunity to provide feedback, and we encourage folks and maybe staff to take a look at that if we haven't, to give feedback. I think that's it. And then I guess I will just put in a plug for my annual Week Without Driving is coming up here later this month, so September 29th through October 5th. For those who don't recall, essentially it's a week every year where they encourage folks to give up driving. And really the goal with that is to better understand the barriers and the experiences of folks who either can't or don't drive. And that is upwards of a third of our community doesn't drive, and that number is increasing as the population ages, as more young folks delay driving. That number becomes bigger and bigger, and I will tell you, having done that for, I think 5 years now, 4 or 5 years now, I learn something every year I participate, and I think even if you can only do it for a day, it is I think if you are somebody who does normally use a car for transportation, I think it is a eye-opening experience, right? How navigating the world looks when you don't have the opportunity to utilize that tool. So anyway, I'll share more information as it comes closer, but I would love if you put that on your calendar, and if you have questions or need help kind of figuring out how to make a plan for that, I would love to help. So I think that's it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Woodard?
Thank you, Mayor. On the 22nd, I had the opportunity to swing by Get Sauced. Really just to say congratulations on bringing a new event to our beautiful destination city, but we had other council members there, so I'll leave them the room to describe what that was like. And then on the 28th, we had a finance committee meeting and no report. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. On August 23rd, I also attended the Get Sauced event here at West Plaza, Mountlake Terrace. And this Saturday will be the beginning to set up for the Arts of the Terrace in the library. The Arts Award will be on Friday the 19th. I don't have the time exactly. It's usually like 6:30 and it'll be in here. I'll let you know next week. But the 19th is the awards ceremony. And then the show will be open to the public starting on Saturday the 20th to the next Saturday the 27th. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sonmore?
Rick, I was just looking that up. It was 6 o'clock because I was curious about that too. I was just looking at our calendars for the art show. My report is Left 1 and Park and Rec meetings are next week. And then my other meeting is the Sustainability Task Force. We met on July 17th, August 27th, and our next meeting is the 17th. We're just starting to get gelled. The first meeting was mostly, basic get to know you, and they're fabulous. The people who are on that committee are just wonderful. Good job selecting that committee. The next one, we kind of talked about 1% property increases and where we can look to increase funds coming into the city, and I'll give you more details next time. And then we have September 17th coming up as our next meeting. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Page?
Thank you. A couple of things. Like everyone else, I went to the Get Sauced, and what I got from that was I just couldn't help stop thinking about what the possibilities of what this can look like, because I know I took the opportunity to talk to all the different business owners in the plaza, and they were just exuberant over the amount of business that they were getting and people waiting in line to at that time of day, on that day where normally they might not be. So the possibilities of what else can happen, as we develop our comp plan and put things in play. And the nice thing about it, I talked to quite a few of the vendors, and they weren't from around here. And they were impressed with the opportunity to be here and do things here in this city, and again, the possibilities. And the second thing I have is just to kind of follow up on, remember last week I talked about a meeting, I was going to be meeting this past Friday with Lon Steiger, the Domestic Violence Service Director of Volunteers and Donations, as well as Katrina and Jason over at The Getaway. We did meet. It was a great meeting. It was an exciting meeting. They turned over close to 100 stuffed animals that were, collected by the baseball team that they sponsor. And the nice thing about it is once the Getaway owners realize exactly what the domestic, services needed, they right away scheduled and planned a 3-day fundraiser party. Donation drive for the community to help the program, and that's going to be on September 5th 6th and 7th. They got a band planned. They're going to have a DJ planned the next day, follow up, and close things up by that Sunday so that the community can donate to the wish list that's going to be made public, and as well as contribute funds, to the domestic services. And, we posted that information, just what we did, that the getaway did, with the meeting, and within like 24 hours, almost less than 48 hours, over 100 people asked, how can we help? So this is going to be a great way for the community, to really get involved, with this program that we're also supporting, obviously, in the month of December. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Wall?
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. Since my last report 2 weeks ago, I immediately following our meeting left town and got to experience the world's culture, beauty, and history. This time in Greece and Turkey. So if you've ever been, you know the tremendous shopping opportunities at bazaars, and the walkable streets, and the water features. It just strengthens my resolve for bringing those things to here in Mountlake Terrace, and looking for opportunities to create those walkable streets and shopping opportunities and outdoor dining experiences where you're walking through. And have you been to Athens lately? Go visit Snow White. I just and have some dessert.
Is it sweet?
Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. Anyway, it's actually it's a restaurant called Little Cook. Let me go into detail because we'd love to have one here in Mountlake Terrace. It's called a Little Cook restaurant, and it features everything about Snow White. And it's just a dessert restaurant. It has all the crepes and brownies and cookies and ice creams, and it's fantastic. And it's like a block and a half of outdoor seating, and the indoors is the bathroom and the cooking, and a nice little feature of Snow White laying on her bed surrounded by the dwarfs. I mean, it's just I've got pictures I'd love to share, but it's not just that, though. I mean, they're right next door, and following down the path is restaurant after restaurant after restaurant with outdoor seating, and you're just walking through these restaurants and having an opportunity to view menus and eat great food and see great culture. And of course, a lot of them have live music, whether they're playing to attract customers. But it's just, we can do that right here in town center. And if you haven't, just a taste of it for those of you who wanted to take light rail during that no driving week, take a drop on down. And I think you're probably talking about the go down to U District. The U District stop, right outside the U District stop, has a great walkable area with outdoor dining. It's a great, I know this isn't Greece, nice sunny, year-round Mediterranean atmosphere. We've got, 4 or 5 months maybe of summer to be able to take advantage of it. But again, the U District has can be a showcase for what we can bring here to Mountlake Terrace. We've got it in our comp plan. Now we just have to work with the community to bring it. So, but I did get back in time yesterday morning, back home in time for my executive committee meeting in Snohomish County tomorrow. So there you go. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you saw more of Athens than I did. So on my report, I did go to the Get Sauce. And for those of you who are wondering what is Get Sauce, it is a hot sauce festival that our local Double D Meats and the Chamber and the landlord, West Plaza, put together. And people were here from all over to get hot sauce. And I overheard somebody saying that they drove from Renton just to come to it. And I thought, wow, if he came from Renton, I wonder where else people came from. We should have had people sign in so that we would know, And then that was on the 23rd, and on the 25th, I'm on the Conservation Futures Board at the Snohomish County, so they have a thank you dinner for the boards and commissions at Snohomish County at the Evergreen Fair in Monroe. And so I went to that. And then on the 3rd, the South County mayors met at Mountlake Terrace, Las Espuelas, for a lunch for our monthly meeting. And then later on in the afternoon, I attended the Alliance for Housing Affordability meeting. And we are really starting to get things done. People are starting to know a little bit more about what is needed and so forth in this part of town with housing and why housing isn't being built, why housing is having problems and all of that. So, and then on the 4th, which is today, I attended the community transit meeting. And then the Mukilteo, well, at the end, we all get to say our 2 cents. And Mukilteo boasted about their parade this weekend. Linwood boasted about their fair on 44th this weekend. So I got on there and boasted about our Wag Fest. And so we got that in. And then I've been on the light rail many, many times in the past few weeks, and I've noticed that it is getting fuller and fuller. I mean, I've always been able to find a seat, but it's very, very, well, I was lucky, let's put it that way. So that is good to see. And that's the end of my report. We're going to make it before 9. Next is new business. Okay, Councilmember Summer.
I'll make it really quick. This kind of sets precedence is this email that we got from a resident about light rail. And I'm just going to say the operating revenue for light rail is $278.1 million, exceeding the operating expenditures of $248.6 million. So I just want that to be put out there. But this really sets a precedent, and I knew this would be coming, is they want to address noise pollution, light pollution, and privacy, vibration and disturbance, impacts, existing sound walls, light shields, and supplemental sound barriers. And I just would like to make sure that we're all educated and get some feedback on what the city can and can't do about that. And then also how it would fall into Sound Transit's realm. And with their operating budget, I don't know what they can tackle and what they can't, but I have a feeling this will be coming back to us over the years as our first anniversary, as you stated, happened. But it's just nice to set precedent out there of what our city can do to address these issues for our residents. And then with that being said, I'd really like John, who spoke today, to get some resolution what he's talking about. I know we asked to get legal advice. I don't know if John ever received that or not. This is the 3rd meeting he's come into, or 2nd since we got that information. The feedback I received that he was told that he needed to decipher our municipal codes and that nobody wanted to help him. And quite frankly, I think it's time to make sure that he knows what we can and can't do, and to make sure that we help John with whatever issue he's talking about. I don't know who has to be talked to again in the city about that, but it's coming back, and I know we kind of giggle and laugh because he kind of tries to make light of it. But like he said tonight, he is very frustrated, and sometimes it's hard to watch one of our residents not get resolution on what they need. And then I just have 2 more quick other things. Have we had, and you can get back to me, any reports on somebody killing crows? About 10 years ago, we had a big fiasco with somebody out there with a BB gun killing tons of crows. And I know in my neighborhood alone, in one day, I saw 3 dead crows. So I'm hoping that's not coming back to haunt us again. And then also the last thing is, can we get an update on the gentleman who gave us an email about the stolen guitar? I actually remember that, if I remember right, there off of 66, I believe it was, there was a rental unit and his guitar got stolen out of there. And I remember at the time it was big in the paper because it was this famous guitar. And I know he talked a little bit about it in the email he gave to us. but he saw it on a site for sale, and he did contact the PD, and I just wanted to know what is the proper protocol that happens. I mean, it must be very frustrating when something's stolen from you and then you see somebody selling it. You know, what is the ruling or the law that our PD can work with that person or any of our residents on that, quite frankly? And that's all I have.
All right. Anyone else? Councilmember Page?
Thank you. You know, I've been wrestling all week, you know, with this, and it's about transparency. And I remember well, I guess the question that I'll ask the city, just to ask, did the city by any chance know when we voted for the Flock contract on June 5th, that Flock already had a contract with Homeland Security and Custom Border Patrol?
I don't know the answer to that question, but
Okay.
we can get it for you.
Okay, and the reason why I asked that question, and I'm hoping the answer is no. I suspect it's probably no. The reason why I'm asking that question is because with all that I heard that day and preceding that day and after that day, and all the concerns that the community had regarding making sure Homeland Security wasn't going to have access, you know, to our data, you know, Custom Border Patrol wasn't going to have access to our data. We had a Flock representative here listening to those concerns during all of that time. And in May, prior to us voting for that, they already had a contract that allowed those government agencies to be able to have access to data, and they never shared that with us. Now, you know, they talk about that they pretty much promised us that they're not going to give our data to them without our permission, and that you know, and I know we're going to be talking about the finalization of the MOUs and the advisory board and all that, but I realized that I thought of something, you know, the other day when I was young, pretty young. I got in trouble. I did something, I can't remember what I did, but I know I was at my grandmother's house, and she asked me a question about what I did, and I gave her the answer that I thought I should give her. And she told me I was lying. And I told her I wasn't lying. And she says, "You didn't tell me the truth, so you are lying." And she told me, "Boy, don't you try to play me again." And that's kind of like what I felt like, you know, when I realized that with all of the concerns that were being put forth, the big concern was we don't want Homeland Security and Custom Patrol being able to get to our data. And then, you know, I find out, you know, by reading stuff all over the country that they misled tons of police municipalities by not sharing the information that they already had it, and that they know they're not going to give them their data, but they gave them the platform to be able to get it themselves. And I can't stop thinking about the fact that they knew we didn't ask the right questions. No one asked the question, "Are you already in it?" Everyone kept asking the question, "Are you going to do it?" And because we didn't ask the question, they didn't offer the answer. And all I could think of is that, you know, I was talking to my brother who's a retired cop, and, you know, we was talking, and he said, "You know, I would never let anybody in my car when I was working, that a fellow cop sit in the passenger seat that I don't trust." And that's how I feel about Flock, the company, now, because they misled us. They knew what our concerns were. They knew they already had this entity that everyone's afraid of already on board, and they never said anything about it. And I personally don't want to do business with them. I don't think that they're a good business partner, because they didn't just mislead us. It's coming out they misled a whole lot of people. And I don't know what their agenda is. I still think the technology can make our police department safer, more efficient, more productive, and keep costs down, as well as save, lives. There is a lot of technology that has been developed throughout humanity that was meant for good, that has turned into bad to hurt other people, just because of the entities that got involved with it and saw something other that they can do. I don't know what their agenda is, but I know their agenda was to not tell us the whole big story, and that I got a problem with that. So I know we're going to be talking about other things coming up about flock and everything, but I feel like I've been played, and it doesn't feel good. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Councilor Sudmore?
So that being said, this is not trying to go off a flock, but I just saw something the other day on the news that I was very curious about. I still think one of the police reports that we just got, there was a shooting within the last 3 weeks, and it said on our police report, if we had those cameras up, we would have been able to find out who did the shooting. With that being said, it still sounds like we still want to protect our citizens and look at what's coming. I mean, I don't want to go into details, because I'm afraid that a lot of this is trying to divide people up, where we should probably stick together and be a community together. But one of the things I wanted to know, with flock aside, I'm not trying to address that, is how does Washington State, on 405, they've implemented cameras because there's too many incidents with people working on crews fixing the freeway, and they sent out thousands of warnings to residents. So not only do they have your license plate, I think a photo, I know, well, the red lights have photos, and they have your home address, and they sent them out, and first one you get a warning, and next year you'll get a $250 fine. That would be a lot. Yeah, that would stop me from driving. But I'm assuming Washington State doesn't own those cameras. Can we find out what Washington State does and how they collect data? And I'm assuming that they contract with somebody. I was just reading about marshals, and now if you return something, you have to give your credit card, and so they're collecting data. And then I was reading something else about people collecting data here and there, and it's very all-consuming. And so I'm just kind of curious what the state does with road cameras. And this conversation, I don't want it to be about flock right now. I just want curiosity about what they're doing with all the information that they're collecting. That's all.
Councilmember Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. Getting back to the art show, the 19th, that's Friday, it's going to start at 6:30 in here. And that's for the people that have got invitations for the awards. Then the public's open Saturday. And at that time, if you want to, you could check the schedule. If you want to donate, say, an hour of time during that week, on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and last Saturday, another Saturday, or any time, you could check with Connor Ryan. I've heard of him. And anyway, he's the president of the Arts Commission, and he'll have a schedule, or someone there will have a schedule to see if you can fit an hour in to sit and welcome people that come in and guide them, ask questions. You can ask questions. And I don't know this Saturday if you want to lift panels and put them in places where they need to go. You could help there. It starts at 9:30. But they're big and bulky. So, but if you want to sit and help at the art show. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Councilmember Woodard.
Thank you, Mayor. In the August 1st city manager report, he got back to us on my request about the speed limit change at basically the corner of 236 and 48th. Our city engineer, our traffic engineer, responded. Thank you for that. He wrapped that up by saying he'd be willing to look at the current conditions for that, and it dawned on me. I don't know if I said that out loud, that yes, I would like that. So August 1st was the city manager report, if anybody wanted to look it up. And I'm just now saying, yes, please do look into why there's a change in speed limit when you cross over 48th and you're still on 236. Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, we used to get reports out of any intersection that's failing and all the improvements. Do we still have that report that we give out? And then we would grade each intersection, and so that would kind of address that too.
We had a map that had F was failing, and then I don't know if it was A, B, C, D, corners that had F. I remember that.
It's part of our transportation plan, improvement plan, and it's, and of course, we're going to be, we're in the process of updating that, as I recall, from, we just got done with our comp plans, and the next pieces are the utilities comp plans and transportation improvement plan. And so we'll be looking a little more deeper into that, and I'm sure that will be part of that report. It is, because I know when we've gone through that in the past, we've had a chance to look at. Yeah.
That's what I wanted. It had all the speed limits on it
Yeah.
too, and how we were looking at what ones we had to reduce and what ones were the most problematic due to accidents and due to road conditions, and there was a whole host of things.
All right, anyone else? Okay, we're gonna adjourn.
Comes back on.